Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs. Hello and welcome to a very exciting episode of Classic Restos. But before we go any further, there are some very special people that bring Classic Restos to us each week. Time now to check out what they've got. Shannons offer us as enthusiasts just so much more. Classic bikes, cars, trucks. Bundle it all together with your house and contents and receive a multi-policy discount. Call Shannons on 134646 for a quote. Sign up for the Shannons Club. Interact with others. List your car club. Find events and so much more. The Shannons Club truly is your garage at shannons.com.au. For oil, coolants and additives, choose Penrite. They have stood the test of time. Established 1926. Australian owned, Australian made. Oil with more zinc for older style engines. No matter what the engine, no matter what the application. Contact the Penrite Technical Assistance Team 7 days a week at penriteoil.com.au. Oil right, use Penrite, simply a better class of oil. For some of the largest range of tools for all trades and DIYs, don't go past Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Established 1930, with branches around Australia and New Zealand. Their showrooms will have you browsing for hours, and no matter where you are, you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. From a garage jack through to a lathe, Hare and Forbes has the range. machineryhouse.com.au. Here I remain at Carlisle Events in Pennsylvania, United States of America, and welcome to episode 2 of the 2015 Carlisle GM Nationals. On last week's episode of Classic Restos, I proudly brought to you just some of the 2015 Carlisle GM Nationals, one of the largest GM events in the world. On Classic Restos, we saw the very first Camaro ever built, with a proud engine number of 001. An interview with GM Carlisle Events manager Tyler Staley shared with us Burt Reynolds' Trans Am known as the Bandit. There was Inside Building Y, where the IROC Camaro was celebrating its 30th birthday this year, for those who appreciate some later model styles. Building T hosted the Fabulous Fins and other cool cars that could have you browsing for hours in Carlisle Events' largest on-site pavilion. And of course, there was the picturesque over 100-acre fairgrounds that was jam-packed with product from the General. You will see this and more in exclusive episode 2 of the 2015 Carlisle GM Nationals in Pennsylvania on Classic Restos. Moving through episode 2 of the 2015 Carlisle GM Nationals here in Pennsylvania, United States of America. It's time for Dick now. How are you, Dick?
I'm doing fine, Fletch. Thank you very much.
That is good. A gorgeous 1969 Corvette Stingray, matching numbers, 427, 4-speed car in glamorous Monaco orange. What a mouthful.
Yeah, what a nice car to drive, too.
How long have you had it, Dick?
I bought this in 2004. I had it restored, so it's been on the road since 2006.
Yeah, good. You enjoying it?
Absolutely.
Now, Dick, what can you tell us about this car?
When I bought it, it was what we would call a basket case. I mean, you had the frame and a body on the frame. Everything else was in baskets.
Now, Dick, tell us about the car in terms of the drivability. Are they a good car to drive?
Oh, they're fun to drive. I mean, with the power that's behind this and the standard transmission, which I like. But you have to keep in mind that this car has manual steering, no power brakes. It's old, so you have to relearn how to drive. And with manual steering, it's not like a power steering. You have a little play in the steering wheel. You have to learn how to drive it.
But it's that archaicness that makes them so unique, and in some respects, quite nice to drive too.
That is true. That's true, because You take a newer vehicle, everything is automatic, you lose the feel for the road, you lose the drivability, the fun of driving it.
Dick, thanks for sharing your car with us on the second episode, as I alluded to earlier, of the 2015 Carlisle Nationals here. It's a beautiful car. Dick's car is in a row with others here, and it's a hard decision on which one to choose, but we've got a good one here with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Fletch. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You are watching one of the largest GM events on the planet, the 2015 Carlisle GM Nationals. Proudly brought to you by Carlisle Events, Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs. Stay right where you are. There's going to be more classics back right after this.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Hare and Forbes Machinery House have showrooms around Australia and New Zealand that will have you browsing for hours. See the largest range of industrial and workshop DIY tools. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. What is a General Motors Nationals event without a GTO? How are you, Rick?
Very good. How are you, Fletch?
I'm very, very well, thank you. Now, Rick, you have this sensational 1967 GTO. I have to say, before we go any further, when it comes to muscle cars, I believe that the Pontiac GTO would have to be up there with one of the most sumptuous, well-dressed and classy muscle cars.
I agree.
I guess you would.
Yeah.
Tell us about the car, Rick. How long have you had it and what you can about it?
I bought the car in 1996. It was a factory original car, original paint, original interior.
In terms of purchase price, you don't have to tell us exactly, but way back in the 90s, was it under 10 grand?
Yes, it was a little bit under 10 grand.
Isn't that just depressing? It's just enough to, wreck your day almost. Now, let's look at the embellishments on the car. Now, around the front with the grille area, it's just class. We have a look at the sill. Now, that's dressed beautifully with that wide piece of stainless steel, not only along the sill, but across the bottom of the door as well, and extending into the lower part of the rear quarter as well. I mean, they didn't skimp out on that, did they?
No, they certainly didn't. The styling changed a little bit from 66 to 67, and they really dressed it up a little bit, 67.
And talking of dress on this car, how cool to look through the screen and see the tacho there on the hood.
That is the first year for that option, and it's very unique.
Now, speaking of which, RPM, the engine was rebuilt. Now we've got a 400 there, right?
400 cubes, yes, 360 horse.
And when you rebuilt it, did you keep it very stock, Rick, or just a couple of extra little trick things going on?
I lowered the compression to 9.5 to 1 for unleaded gas, yep. But I bumped up the cam to make up the difference, and it actually increased the performance.
Yep. Automatic transmission, turbo 400?
Turbo 400 automatic.
Now, what about diff gears out back? What sort of ratio are you running there?
390 to 1.
3.9s. He's no doubt about him. He's a hot rodder, isn't he? 3.9, quick off the line, not the sort of car that you'd lend to a neighbour.
Oh, definitely no.
Looking inside the sumptuous interior, how nice are these Pontiacs finished? They really were. I mean, they're dashboards with a little bit of wood grain there, chrome highlighting the gauges. I mean, they just were finished so well, weren't they?
Very, very nice. Nicely finished. Actually, it's a luxury performance car.
Rick, thanks again. 1967 Pontiac GTO, a brilliant example. It's a credit to you, yourself and your wife Darlene over there, and thanks for coming along and being a part of the GM Nationals here at Carlisle for 2015.
Thank you.
We now make our way around the sensational Building T. We have a lovely fella here, Randy. Hello, Randy, how are you?
How are you, Fletch?
Wonderfully well. Yourself?
Great.
Now, Randy, you've got your delightful 57 Bel Air here. What an incredible car. Now, what can you tell us about this particular vehicle?
Well, it was sort of in a basket case when I bought the car, and I had to do a complete frame-off restoration.
Yeah, we talk about classic restos, doesn't get much better than this. I mean, look what this guy has done. It's beautiful in every respect. The first thing that got me was in the trunk, looking at that spare tyre with the original label on it. Wow.
That's original tire.
Never been on the car?
No, sir, never been on the car.
Wow. So is that safe to say in the whole history of this vehicle's life, it's never had a flat tyre? I guess so.
Well, it could be possible.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, sir.
The 57, when you were a younger guy, did the 57 always mean a lot to you?
Yes. From the day that I saw them in the dealership, I always wanted one of those cars.
You couldn't afford one back then?
No, sir. Too much money, Fletch.
This is what I think so beautiful about all of this hobby, is that we've got guys at like Randy here, at the stage of his career, his life, where the car, when he saw it young, is now a reality, and I think that's nice. Now, through the restoration, Randy, did you have any problems? Was it fairly clean sailing?
No, I had some problems. Different body shops, and I had to finally go to a friend of mine to get the car straightened out and get it painted.
Yeah.
I had the engine redone once, and I tried driving it, and it blew a lot of oil out. So I had to pull the engine back out and redo it again. Talking
Of the engine, you're happy with it now? It's a good runner?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's 283.
283.
It's the original block that came in the car.
Now, Randy, let's talk about body and paint for a sec. What is the paint colour?
It's tropical turquoise and Indian ivory.
And there's just something about the white roof, the two-tone on a 57 car, separated by, well, I guess, broken up by the fantastic stainless steel trim that a 57 Chev down the rear quarter was known for.
Yeah, I really like that.
The interior, absolutely beautiful. Randy, it doesn't even look like that you've ever sat in there.
Well, we put 7,000 miles on the car before I bought the car trailer.
Well, you must have very clean clothes, because that interior is sensational.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for being on today's show. It's a pleasure interviewing you.
It's good talking to you, Fletch.
All right.
Thank you.
You just keep enjoying this car, all right?
Sure will. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, here we are in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, United States of America, and you can join us in 2016. Have a look at this.
You deserve a Fletch tour. See the amazing Ford, GM and Chrysler Nationals at Carlisle Events, along with museums and private collections in beautiful Pennsylvania, USA. Then it's the Motown city of Detroit and its region, taking in more die-hard stuff with incredible history. Rounding off with the Woodward Dream Cruise, the largest moving car cruise in the world.
The best part of coming here actually was having Fletch here.
We get picked up, we get dropped off.
Fletch is a wonderful tour guide.
I would just recommend a Fletch tour to anybody.
Go to classicrestos.com.au and click on the Fletch Tours icon for more information. Hope you're enjoying today's show. Back with more after this.
Every weekend around Australia, motoring enthusiasts get together to share their passion for cars and bikes. It's a passion that brings us together. All sorts of people, all sorts of cars and bikes. From the classics of today to the classics of tomorrow. At Shannons, we understand enthusiasts. So when it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannons. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. From a garage jack through to a lathe, Hare and Forbes has the range. And Hare and Forbes Machinery House are Australian owned, established since 1930. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. Moving through fabulous fins, Building T, 2015 Carlisle GM Nationals. We have Josh. How are you, Josh?
Fantastic, Fletch.
That is great. 1964 Cadillac. Now, if anyone in here is going to qualify for fins, it has to be a Cadillac owner, right?
Absolutely. We all enjoy fins, and I appreciate you enjoying it too, Fletch.
Absolutely. Josh, when I looked at your car, I thought to myself, wow, that's been rebuilt, that's been restored. I'm wrong, aren't I?
Absolutely. This car was never really molested in any way. Minor touch-ups, but it's what you call a survivor car. It's all original inside, all original chrome.
Where did you find it?
I found this up in New York in the Catskills. It was owned by a restaurant owner, purchased new for many, many years, and about 9 years ago it started to exchange hands. The cook bought it and decided he didn't need it. The fellow I bought it from fell in love with it, couldn't go to sleep one night, had to rush back and buy it. And then I was lucky enough to run across it. I'm the proud owner of it now, Fletch.
Wow, an old restaurant owner. There wasn't any used food in the back in a box, was there?
Never found any contaminated food in the box, no, sir.
Okay, now being 1964, the first year of the 429 V8, correct?
That is 100% correct. It was the very first year, and it went on for some years and grew in cubic inches, and I'm not real sure what year it was discontinued for a new style, to be honest with you.
That's right, the 429 continued through until the launch of the 472 and 1969.
You're good with your Cadillac history.
Yeah, I think 1969 was the first year of the 472. Now, the paint colour, what is that, Josh?
That is Sierra Gold. It's a very, very classy color, and it's got a leather interior. And like I said, it's 100% original in there.
It's just beautiful. I mean, it really is. Again, these top-end cars didn't do the miles. They weren't worked hard. They seldom had families through them. The people that had these cars were like corporate directors or people a little bit older. And all these years on, it's proof of that testament, isn't it?
Absolutely. We all enjoy these cars that these prestigious people used to have, you know. Yep. And we find an awful lot of people just really, truly enjoy those. We run across foreigners that never saw anything like that. And they just drove with cars we just saw in the movies only, you know. So here it is in real life. So it's neat to have history.
Absolutely. Why not build a car 20 feet long just to take one guy to work in New York City traffic? I can see that all day long. And how do you feel? You got your car shirt on, you're driving along in the big car. A lot of people refer these things to big boats. Well, of course they are, because they're designed to go from point A to point B in a straight line, aren't they?
Straight line is what it's all about. They weren't great handling cars, but they did a straight line and luxury and comfort. It's an awesome ride yet today.
Well, every angle of the car looks fantastic. Josh, thank you very much for being a part of this Classic Restos episode today. Nice to meet up with you.
It's a pleasure meeting with you too, sir. Fletch. Take care.
Moving through as we do, we have a very special gentleman. Time for Vernon. How are you, Vernon?
I'm pretty good, Fletch.
That is good. Now, this would have to go down as probably, well, the oldest vehicle I've ever interviewed here at any Carlisle event. Now, it's an Oakland. What year are we talking here?
It's a 1922 Oakland Sport Touring, the only one we know of.
Now, what's the affiliation with Oakland and General Motors?
Oakland was originally a buggy. It was made in California. And then in 1910, it became a General Motors product.
It's extraordinary. I mean, I love the way... I mean, when I first got here, I thought that Vernon might have left off the rocker cover. But it's exposed valve springs, exposed rockers, exposed push rods and lifters. That's quite unique to see that running like that.
Right. And we just have to oil them every 50 to 75 miles is what the owner's manual specifies.
Now, Vernon, what can you tell us about the car in terms of the history? I always love to know who owned this vehicle.
Well, I own the vehicle right now, and we had bought it back in 1944, and we found it was stored in an orchard outside. The upholstering and the roof was all in shreds. The body had holes in it. The wooden bows that holds the roof together, they were all rotted. So we had new ones made in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, by an Amish man. And the roof was made by a former upholsterer from Carlisle who moved over to Perry County. And he came to my house and he made the roof, and we put it on. And I did most of the other work that we had to do. And I got my fingernails dirty and everything else. So.
Well, I'm pleased that you cleaned your fingernails for today's episode, and you've also put on a clean shirt too, Vernon.
Yeah, that would go with it, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, do you mind us asking you, can I ask you your age?
Well, I'm 87.
Wow.
And I've had the car since 1944, so that makes it pretty old and pretty rare.
Well,
and us old things has to stick together.
Absolutely. Isn't it beautiful to come along to a car event? We've got a gentleman here knocking on the door of 90 years of age. He's here with his Oakland supporting the fraternity. Well, sir, thank you so much for coming along. It's wonderful talking with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fletch.
Everybody loves a barn find. Well, boy, do we have one here. How are you, Gary?
I'm great. Fletch, how you doing?
Good, thank you. An American icon car, 63 Chevrolet. You found it in a shed. What's going on there?
Well, actually, it didn't come from a shed. The car came from a dealership in Nebraska about a couple years ago. This dealer in Nebraska decided to sell his inventory. And for 50 years, he actually hoarded these cars. So he had about 500 vehicles. Most of them were used, but some of them were new. Most of them were outside, but there was a couple that were indoors. So we came upon this one in the auction. We actually went out there looking for parts cars, and one thing led to another, and we got the 63 Chevy.
Like they say, only in America, right?
Only in America for sure, and the story is unbelievable. Most people here in the country saw the story on television. Lambrecht Chevrolet was the dealer, and it was a big auction, about 4,000 or 5,000 people. Yep. Unbelievable.
It's amazing to think this car is so old yet so intact. It is just so good. Original examples are always interesting to look at because these are the real deal. These are the cars the way that they left the factory.
Right, that's exactly right. In fact, we've had a number of people that have come by and taken close-up pictures of it, video pictures and so forth, because they're restoring 63s. Now, on the other hand, there's a number of mistakes on the car. The car has like the wrong radiator cap. It's got a fan from an air-conditioned car. One of the spark plug wires has a date of 1962 on it. So we had the opportunity to take the car by invitation to Janesville, Wisconsin, at a GM dealer there, and we put it in his showroom for a couple of days. And the retirees from Janesville, where the plant was, where the car was actually built in the 60s, they came out in droves. Hundreds of retirees came to look at the car, and then we got the real story on how these cars were built.
Well, Gary, the whole car would be still under warranty, wouldn't it? You could get all that stuff fixed.
I was actually thinking about sending the warranty card in. You know, it's good for 24,000 miles back in the day, so, you know, it's only got 11 and a half miles on it.
Now, how does the car drive?
Well, first of all, the answer is very little. Obviously, we only put a little bit of distance on it. We back our trailer right in where we can, and it's obviously transported in the trailer. Yep. We had to do some things mechanically to it. We had to recore the radiator, and anywhere there was a fluid, there was kind of a problem because it sat for 50 years. We did as little as possible to get it running. The day of the startup was interesting. You know, we put the carburetor, had to clean the carburetor, put it back on, but it started up and ran just fine. It runs well, runs very well. To which my brother, who did most of the work, would say, well, of course it runs well. It's a new car.
It's amazing, amazing stuff. When you get around
places like, well, here at Carlisle Events, these stories, the cars that come out of the barns, the sheds, the history, even off camera, the stories you hear away from Classic Restos are quite amazing. Gary, thank you again.
Thank you, Fletch. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. Well, what a way to end the second episode of the 2015 Carlisle GM Nationals with a 52-year-old Chevrolet with just 11.5 miles on the clock. Absolutely sensational. That's the stuff you'll find here at a Carlisle event, and you can check them out at carlisleevents.com. You can also see your favourite Carlisle event on a Fledge tour. In the meantime, classicrestos.com.au is the website that you need for the DVD boxed sets of the show, Classic Restos merchandise, contact information regarding joining us on a Fledge tour in 2016, and of course, contacting the major sponsors as well. As I say at the end of every show, no matter where you're watching from, until next week, please ride and drive safe. This is Fletch signing off from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, United States of America, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.